Welcome to Thursday, March 13th meeting of the Rotary Club of Milledgeville. This meeting is in order. Please silence your cell phones as Gilbert Sutton Jr. joins us in service as Rotarian of the day.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Any day to be with you all. Like you say, I'm Gilbert Sutton Jr. I'm the Regional Hospital Administrator at Central State Hospital. I've been absent for a while because we had started a jail restoration center in Dodge County for 32 inmates. We also started a New Hope Center at Central State Hospital for about 17 individuals. So I've been super busy, but I'm ready to put myself right back in the fire and to get ready to go to work. With that being said, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God Almighty, we ask you to bless this organization. We ask you to touch the hearts and to heal the bodies of everyone around us and the people that we know. We ask you to bless our President of the United States, that his decisions will continue to be decisions of leadership, and to bless our state governor, Governor Kemp, so that he can continue to lead this state in a great way. We ask you to bless us all and bless this organization continuously. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's do the four-way test. First,
is it true?
second,
Is it fair all concerned?
third,
Will it be beneficial?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and the main thing.
Is it fun?
How's that?
Okay, thank you, sir, for that. And thank you all for coming out today. Thank you for Rotarians who have joined us remotely via Zoom. If you will, please remember the cart buckets in your tables and bring your spare change or cart. Mark Taylor, please come up and join us.
I've got to figure out that we do not have any guests today. So without a guest, yes, maybe our speaker should pick the ticket.
I like that.
You buy tickets?
No, I'm not taking it.
Good.
Come on, Greg.
085.
Oh. That's what I'm not doing.
Not just you.
All right, Jeff. Hold up.
Give that a try.
Thanks, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, now, we're gonna try something a little bit different, not that we haven't done it before, but give everybody the opportunity to tell the club something or brag about something or talk about a grandchild or just what you're gonna do on Saturday, maybe. And that's happy dollars. So who would like to start us off? And if not, I'll do. Somebody? Well, I'll start off. I'm gonna give $5 of happy dollars because the upcoming celebration at Andalusia over the next several days includes some never seen before artwork by the author herself. Most people don't even know they exist. There's going to be an exhibit of Flannery O'Connor artwork. So happy dollar for that and encourage attendance. Yes, Jack.
Well, this is not really a happy dollar, but today is a Jewish holiday called Purim. If you go back to the Old Testament, book of Esther, and my wife and I will be in services tonight.
And what is the nature of it?
So Purim goes back to, there have been many times over the years that somebody's tried to kill all the Jews. And it goes back a couple thousand years.
I'm sorry.
That Iranian leader, if you go back to the book of Esther, a guy named Haman, who was a leader, tried to murder all the Jews that were living in Iran. And he did. And so it's a remembrance that that didn't happen and we survived. to be able to eat again.
There you go.
There you go. All right, other happy dollars, people want to talk about, come on now. Yes, Jennifer.
Okay, I see Fred's not here, right? No, okay.
I mean, the what?
So, I don't know. Okay, so just encouraging everybody to come out on Saturday for the peaceful picnic. I will actually not be there, sorry, bad direction. But everything's gonna be set up for you and you'll be ready to go. It's gonna be a fantastic day regardless of the weather. We're just gonna do our thing and be happy Rotarians like we did. And then also on your table is a list of upcoming events, at Lockrelly, it's sort of all of our programming for the year. As you can see, it is it's a very full list. Many of you know Kinsey Amerson, our new director of education. Kinsey doesn't like to be bored or not. Kinsey's hair is on fire all the time, basically. So, and this list reflects it. So we're really excited about everything we've got going this year. Let me know if you have any questions and, yeah.
Thank you. Kinsey makes a hell of a sausage biscuit. I don't know. Thought I saw you.
Yes.
With your hands up.
Yes.
Ma'am, Dr. Price?
Yes, I'm happy to report that, Tuesday, the board, selected a sole finalist for superintendent of the Baldwin County School District with me, which means I can officially retire on June 30th. So Dr. Christina Brooks, is currently the superintendent in Chattahoochee County.
So Norris, what are your plans?
I don't know yet, except to get some sleep and some rest for at least the first month.
Other happy dollars. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'm just happy for some spring weather, whether it's fall or not. Makes me happy.
Let's hope that this weekend doesn't ruin that.
I
Yes.
don't have any cash I owe you.
Ah.
I am
Whoa, we gotta take a vote on that.
Okay.
We accept her IOU?
Yes.
You are.
Previous Rotarians returning and rejoining our club, so welcome back, guys.
All right. Who else? Yes, Mary.
I'm also happy that they're back and I'll cover her dollar.
Well, there you go.
Covered.
Other happy dollars. Now, the proceeds of this goes into the CART fund. Just making clarification on that. So that everybody's aware. Anybody else right now? No bankers want to talk about anything?
Okay, Mark,
Thank you.
no.
Oh, you have.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to owe you to Sarah President, Aaron.
Well, no, we voted on it. Are we voting? Oh, are people accepting of her IOU? Okay, all right. I guess we'll do it again.
Mary's gonna spot me too.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
What?
you're spotting.
You're supposed to hear me now.
I can't hear a thing. That thing is in my, forget it.
Okay, happy dollars. Very excited that 4 of us attended Rotary Leadership Institute last Saturday. So thank you, Kristen, thank you, Jay, thank you, Mark. And then I went and we passed our classes. So that was a lot of fun.
It was a tough exam, y'all.
You will cover hers too. So
You know, I thought we were getting a good deal. Now it's you're watering it down. All right. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. Do we have prayer requests for today? Any prayer requests? Your family, Jeff, has been in our thoughts and prayers. Okay, community announcements. You all should have a copy of the bulletin on your table if you want to take a minute and review those. And I think that we've covered most all of them.
Can I talk about the picnic a little bit?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna reiterate what Jennifer said. I wanna talk, can everybody hear me? I wanna talk about the picnic, which is Saturday. There's a couple of reasons why this is exciting. Y'all know that we're venturing into alternative, membership types. We have the E-Club at the Baldwin County Schools, and then this will be the first meeting of the Impact Club, which will have 2 meetings a month, and our whole goal is to do service projects. And so we're doing a service project Saturday. This will serve as our social and service project. And we're planting the peach pole. We're having Jimmy John's sandwiches, ice cream. Jennifer's setting up the games for us, so it's gonna be fun. We'll have the golf cart if you wanna take the golf cart down to picnic areas. And, I have a surprise for the kids that come. I'll give you a hint, it's right here in the corner. An ice cream truck is coming, so bring cash for ice cream for the kids. Second thing?
Yes.
And one more. So everybody's asking why I brought these. These are the jerseys for the district conference at the end of April. Was that about 6 weeks away? About 6 weeks away? It's the first time all 3 Georgia districts have come together to host a conference at Jekyll Island. So each district governor picked a jersey. Gordon Owens from District 6900 picked soccer jersey. Y'all, I love this one. It's so stretchy. It's awesome. 6910, Bobby Hildreth, he picked the baseball jersey. And then Todd Pressman with District 6920, our district, picked the football jersey. But they are encouraging you to dress sporty, either sports attire or resort attire all weekend long. It's casual, so no suits and ties and fancy dresses. But if y'all want to get one, if you're going to conference, and get your jersey, just let us know.
We need to be showing that we're supporting Governor Todd with picking the football jersey.
I would say yes, but if you want to pick other jerseys as well, I know Frederick has picked the baseball jersey because that's their favorite. So there's no district numbers on the jersey, so it's Georgia United, so feel free to pick what you want.
Okay.
But if you want to support the governor, great.
Got it.
Thanks, Erin. Okay, just some quick club business. We have a reminder, next Tuesday, March the 18th at noon is our monthly board meeting. We'll be having it at Responsive Technology Partners this time. It's 286 Jones Drive if you haven't been out there before. And any club member is welcome to attend. It counts as a makeup, so that's a good time to come out. And then, let's see.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot to say I need a head count for food, so if you're coming to the picnic, write your name and your number on the back of the sheet of paper on the table, so we know how much food to order.
All right, thanks, Erin.
Sorry.
That's fine. There are, any of the board chairs have any quick updates?
I just wanted to talk about
Yes, Stephanie.
so I had scheduled us a tour at Fouts May 15th. May 15th, it starts getting a little warmer. So working with Madison on scheduling what to do. Normally they would have a buffet. We would sit down and eat all the 9 yards, but with it being possibly uncomfortably warm, her other option is box lunches. Now we can start the tour at 11 o'clock. Do box lunches at 12. If you want to stay and eat, she can try to have a conference room with some tables and chairs for those that want to stay and eat, and then others can grab and go. Or we can do it from 12 to 1. Same thing. Just trying to get a feel of what everybody would be willing to do.
I just remember the last time we were out there, I don't know if there was an outside area, but we did stay inside. Just because.
Well, and I think the plant is a little different now. They've got, different areas set up. A lot of that I think is offices. She said she did have a conference room, but it would not be large enough to have a buffet and seat 30-ish people. So that's where we're at. So normally they do it in the warehouse. They set up a buffet. They have tables and chairs in the warehouse, but May 15th be a little warm for that. So I'm just trying to get a gauge as to what everybody would be willing to do for that.
I vote for 12 to 1 for box lunches.
Okay,
That's what I vote for.
you second that? Everybody good with that? 12 to 1, and then you can it'll be a little bit later when you eat, if you want to eat when you're there. Like I said, she'd have some tables and stuff there, but you need to grab and go back to work or whatever, you can do that too. So that's the consensus. All right, well, Stephanie, actually, you're up now. Oh, yes. So Greg Tyson, our very own, is gonna be giving us some updates with Georgia from Georgia Power. So I welcome him. I don't want to take him.
Definitely. I guess I'll try to go behind the podium. Hope everybody's doing good today. Appreciate the opportunity to give you all an update on Georgia Power. I'm going to, I think the program says Integrated Resource Plan and Hurricane Helene. I'm going to give you an update on Georgia Power. It will focus on our Integrated Resource Plan. It will tie into the extraordinary growth we're seeing in our state right now. And then I'll hit on Hurricane Helene. I think when Stephanie approached me last year about speaking, I think initially it was to talk about Helene and the impact that it had on us. So let me see. First of all, I'm gonna see if I can put this on full screen. And before I leave this screen, Merritt's already asked me what that is in the bottom left. That's battery storage. That's our newest technology that we're deploying.
Where's the picture of the dam? Is that
It's North Georgia. I can't tell you where. I don't know where. The cooling towers, I'm thinking are Plant Vogel, because that looks like maybe an old reactor building in the background. So anyway, Georgia Power, we've been serving our state for over 140 years. Serve about 2.8 million customers. We're in 155 of Georgia's 159 counties. I can't tell you which counties we're not in. I know Crisp County is one of them. The other three are extreme North Georgia, and they may actually be served they may be served by TVA. I'm not 100% sure about that. I want to talk to you today about our strong economic growth we're seeing in the state of Georgia, how we're approaching that with our diverse generation resources, the work we're doing to enhance our power grid, and finally, our efforts to balance reliability and affordability. So let's talk about the growth we're seeing. Georgia is been ranked a top state to do business in for 11 straight years by Area Development Magazine. We have the 6th fastest growing economy in the country. So we're seeing a lot of growth coming in, but lately we're seeing what we call large load users move into the state. These are customers with electrical demands of 100 megawatts or more. I know that may not mean anything to you, so I'll try to give you an idea of what a megawatt is. So if you think about a Kroger superstore, like we have here in Milledgeville, that's a little over half of a megawatt. So we've got single customers moving in that are 170, 180 times as big, maybe even 300 times as big as a Kroger grocery store. Anybody got an idea of what kind of customers those are? Well, yes, data centers, and crypto is one form of a data center. You've got artificial intelligence is the driver of a lot of the data centers coming in. And then, companies like Microsoft and Meta, they need data centers for storage in their businesses. So 80% of the growth we're forecasting is being driven by data centers. So pretty significant. So how do we deal with that? Well, let me back up. So over the next 6 years, we're projecting about 8,200 megawatts of growth in our state. For perspective, today, after 140 years, our system's about 20,000 megawatts. So going to add another 8,200 in the next 6 years. That's a little over 40% growth.
Does it cost you to create that kind of energy? To build the facilities that you need?
It's a lot. I don't know. I don't even have a clue how much that is, but it's a lot. We have a planning process, the Integrated Resource Plan, which is what I wanted to talk about today. That is our long-term plan that details how we will meet the need of our customers and how we'll support growth in the state over the next 10 to 20 years. As a public utility that's regulated by the Georgia Public Service Commission, we're required to file this plan every 3 years. We filed the 2025 plan on January 31st of this year. So that plan's got quite a few components in it. The first thing we do is an energy demand forecast. How much energy will we need? What do we expect the growth to be in the state? Supply side strategy, which is simply what generation resources will we need and what kind of generation. Demand side strategy is really what can we do to help our existing customers reduce their usage, because we can reduce usage by becoming more efficient. It lessens the need for new generation and that cost that comes with it. There are other things in the plan. Well, another important component of that plan is the 10-year transmission study. And that's the big transmission lines that carry the power across the state. Other components of that plan are reserve margin, studies to meet environmental regulations. Anytime PSC pretty much controls anything we do ultimately. So we want to retire an existing generating facility. We have to go through a unit retirement study and show the cost impact of retiring that and replacing it with different generations. So they're pretty comprehensive plan. It's hundreds of pages. We submitted that to the PSC, like I said, January 31st. They submit a lot of data requests from us, a lot more information, and then they'll conduct a series of public hearings over the next few months. And then on July 15th, they will vote to approve some form of that integrated resource plan. So what are we looking at to meet the need? We have a diverse generating supply already. We have nuclear, we have coal, natural gas, hydro, we have renewables, which consist mainly of solar. We do buy some wind energy from Oklahoma. And the newest form is battery storage, which I'll talk a little bit more detail about later. We are proposing to continue to invest in our existing nuclear, natural gas, and hydro units. We're proposing to add additional solar and battery storage, and then expand our distribution energy resource, or DER program. At a high level, that program consists of generation on the customer site, large customers. Generation could be owned by Georgia Power or by the customer. The customer can use it in an outage situation to back their service up. We can also call on it when we need it for peak demand to generate back to the grid. So that's our newest program we're trying to expand. So I mentioned coal. We've got 2 coal plants left in the state, Plant Scherer and Plant Bowen. Those 2 units supply about 4,000 megawatts of energy to our customers. We're proposing to continue to run those plants through at least 2034. We had considered the retirement of those plants in previous IRPs, integrated resource plans. I'll say IRP sometimes for short. Also, natural gas. We've got natural gas. It's probably our predominant energy source today. And we've got 10 units at Plant McIntosh in Savannah that we're proposing to make upgrades to that will produce another 268 megawatts of energy. Does that cut off on the screen? That says nuclear energy investments at the top. So most of you know, we just put the first 2 nuclear reactors online in the United States in over 30 years, Plant Vogtle units 3 and 4. Those 2 units will generate about 2,200 megawatts of energy for our customers. It's a long-term investment. They'll serve this state at least 60 to 80 years. They're what we call base load power. They run 24/7. They are our most reliable units, probably some of our cheapest units to run, not to build, but cheapest units to run. And they're carbon free. They have no air emissions. So we've got existing nuclear units. Plant Hatch in Baxley has 2 units. It's been there since the 1960s. And then Plant Vogtle units 1 and 2. We're proposing to make some upgrades to those units, which will allow us to uprate those and deliver another 112 megawatts of carbon-free energy for our state.
Is there a conversation about building more nuclear plants in Georgia?
Not in Georgia, not right now. We don't have the appetite for that just yet. We are looking at newer technologies, and we do believe if we're going to go to a carbon-free environment, you're going to need nuclear to do that. But we've been putting renewables on our system for years now. And this plan calls for 4,000 megawatts of new renewables over the next 10 years. We look long-term, but we're also looking at 3-year periods at a time. So in that 3-year period, we'll include at least 1,100 megawatts of additional renewable, which will be solar and battery storage. That's pretty much what we're able to do in Georgia. It makes sense. Wind doesn't make sense for us right now. So let's talk about battery storage. That's not a generation asset or resource, but it will help us meet our demand because we can charge the batteries during periods of low use and then discharge them in peak conditions. It brings our peak demand down, which reduces the need for new generation. They also are very valuable. You think about solar. Solar works when the sun's out. Of course, it's dark at night, but clouds passing by disrupt our system. That generation drops. And electrical engineering, you have to match the demand to the generator. It has to match. So we have to adjust, and we have to adjust instantaneously. If you don't, the system becomes unstable. So batteries, as we have put more solar on, batteries will help us ride through those periods. So it increases the reliability of our system overall. So I mentioned our transmission study, and I've talked to you about all this new generation. To get that to our customers across the state in a reliable and efficient manner, we're projecting we're going to need to build about 1,000 miles of new transmission line in 10 years. That's huge. That's a big investment. And y'all ask questions as we go if you want. I do better that way. Reliability. Reliability is a top priority for Georgia Power. Y'all know we're constantly impacted by storms and natural disasters, and we are focused on continuously trying to improve the resiliency of our system and the reliability. We've done that through grid investments, is what we call the program. Over the last 10 years, we've invested more than $10 billion in our grid. That's work all the way from upgrading substations, upgrading structures, putting key overhead lines underground where it makes sense, and then smart technologies. And one big one is automated restoration schemes that we're doing all across the state. So how am I doing on time?
You're good.
Good. To explain how those work, if you think about you have an outage on the other side of the lake 20 years ago. We have to roll a truck that way. He doesn't know where the trouble is. So he's got to drive over there. He's got to find the trouble. Then he's got to go to switches on both sides where maybe a tree's down. He's got to open those switches. Then he's got to go to another switch and close. And he's got to go back to the other side and close. It could take hours. Our system will do that in seconds today. All that work will be done in seconds. Then we still have to roll a crew to make the repairs, but we've isolated the trouble down to just a few customers or a handful of customers in a short period of time. That's made a dramatic impact on our reliability performance across the state.
So Greg, why not put all the lines underground?
Cost.
I know it's cost, but in the short term, but in the long run, you don't have to worry about hurricanes knocking them down, storms.
Who's a Georgia Power customer now? You happy with your bill?
Not really.
You want to triple it or quadruple it? I mean, really, that's the bottom line. When we say cost, I understand what you're saying short term, but it's just cost prohibitive. I mean, and across the country, it's overhead. But there are key places that we can put lines underground it will make a difference. And we're trying to do that. Some of the work we thought we were gonna do, we got into it and we started hitting rock. And we realized that even what we thought was expensive we had to abandon some of those plans. So, yeah. Hurricane Helene, I'm gonna come back to. So let's talk about affordability. We just touched on that in some of our customer programs. Affordability is extremely important to us. We talk about it. It's in every decision that we make. I understand as a customer how much our bills have gone up over the past few years. We've been impacted by inflation like everybody else. We've been impacted by rising fuel costs. And I'm not talking about the gasoline in our trucks. I'm talking about the fuel that runs our power plant, primarily natural gas and coal. Price of natural gas dramatically went up a few years ago. We became very much under recovered on the fuel cost. So we had a fuel increase in 2023. That was a 12% increase on your bill by itself. Want to note that we do not make any profit on fuel. It's a separate line item on your bill and it passes straight through, no profit. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you're generating electricity with gas out of Savannah.
Yes, sir.
Is that offloaded on that element out in the middle of the marsh out there and converted from liquid back to gas? And
I have no idea where the gas comes from.
well, the history of gas, as I understand it, was out in California where they used it increasingly, and the natural gas spiked on, and electricity cost this outrageous amount of money.
That's
rolling brownouts out there because they couldn't get enough gas in there, and I just wondered if you had a good steady supply.
Yes,
reasonably
absolutely.
Gas coming in.
Absolutely. That's not a problem in Georgia. We are structured and regulated very differently in Georgia than California and Texas. And that we call it constructive regulation and our vertically integrated structure. And what I mean by that is we take it all the way from the generating unit to the customer. We do everything. Other states, that's split between different companies. With us doing it all and then being regulated by the PSC, we're able to make sure that we don't have rolling brownouts and able to make sure that whatever we put in the field, natural gas unit, that we've got firm supply of gas to feed it. So yeah, we're in good shape there. So I mentioned fuel cost. Or was I fuel cost? Okay. And then the other part of our rate increases is just the money we've been putting back in our system. State's growing. We've got to invest in our assets, generation and transmission resources. We've got to maintain reliability, the grid work I'm talking about that we've been doing, and we've got to comply with environmental regulations too. And that's another separate line item on your bill that you can see what you're paying in your bill that goes straight towards us complying with regulations put on us. So that's what's been driving our rates up. So, but even still,
It's possible that they follow back EPA, the old 1 power rule, declared carbon and pollutant. And will that change the economics of coal and other forms of?
it could, Frank. It's regulations are set by one administration, and then we go down the road, right? And we're moving down the road. New administration comes in and changes the regulations. It doesn't necessarily mean that it makes sense for us to stop what we were doing. We like to see some stability, so we know what the rules are for us going forward. Constantly changing rules makes it difficult for us, but some easing up on some regulations definitely could save future costs. There's no doubt about that. So
We're at
1253. Better hurry. All I said about rates, we are and have been since 1990, we average about 15% below the national average on rates. We're about 4.5% below the average in the Southeast U.S. The rising cost of energy is not just a Georgia Power issue. It's a national issue. It's impacting everybody. So Programs, we do have programs for our customers to help them save money, help them manage their usage. Energy efficiency programs, some of you may have heard of those. We offer rebates to our customers to make energy saving improvements on their homes and businesses. We've got some newer programs that are targeted towards lower income customers, income qualified customers. Those customers, if they're eligible, can get free improvements to help them save on their bill. Income qualified discount. We've got a discount that we used to be called our senior citizen discount. I think it was early last year, we changed that discount, removed the senior requirement, removed the age requirement. So if you fall 200% of the federal poverty level or below, you're eligible for that discount. It's $33.50 a month. So it adds up over $400 a year. So it's significant. So Georgia Power, our motto is a citizen where we serve. We've got about 7,000 employees, live in every community in the state. They give back to their communities just like Georgia Power gives back to their community. Since '86, we've supported more than 1,000 nonprofits and community organizations and provided more than $200 million in giving. Last 2 years, our employees, retirees, and their families have volunteered more than 138,000 hours. And then right here in Milledgeville, our Citizens of Georgia Power chapter last year completed 18 service projects for a total of 790 volunteer hours. Citizens of Georgia Power is our employee-driven volunteer organization. We have chapters all across the state. So Hurricane Helene, this was the most destructive storm in our 140-year history. Let me get my notes here because I want to give you a statistic or some information. My memory's not that good. There were, we compared it to four previous hurricanes. Hurricanes Michael, Irma, Zeta, and Matthew. Helene was more than all four combined in terms of damage and resources engaged in restoration. It far exceeded anything we've ever seen before. It entered South Georgia as a Category 1 hurricane, and when it left the state, it was still tropical storm force. So it went all the way through the state, at least at a tropical storm force. Impacted Valdosta, Brunswick, Savannah, Dublin, Vidalia, and Augusta were the areas most damaged.
So I was headed to Hillhead the day after, and between Dublin and Meadow, it was a war zone. I never seen anything like it on the expressway. You had cars going 10 miles an hour weaving. And Savannah was a war zone. It was unlike anything I've ever seen.
My peer in Augusta showed me a picture not too long ago. It was just like a carpet of trees. And then he said, well, look right there. You see that? And it's asphalt. And it was Walton Way in Augusta. And it looked like a carpet of trees. It was incredible. So 11,800 broken poles, 1,500 miles of wire down, 5,800 transformers. You can see it. I hope everybody can see it. 345 transmission structures damaged. 1.5 million customers out, 53 counties, major disaster areas. We had 523,000 customers back on in the first 48 hours and had 95% of our customers back within 8 days. Many of the customers that weren't back couldn't take service back. They didn't have anything to hook up to. We had over 20,000 personnel here working from 35 other companies across the country. Canada, Oregon, California, from all over the country in here working. Huge effort. Some of the challenges we faced, I know you think about the trees down, but we had employees that we didn't hear from for a couple of days. Cell service was down everywhere. And it took them a couple of days to cut their way out to get to work. We had 2 employees in Augusta that walked to work. They just had there was no chance for them to drive out of their subdivision. So they walked to work. So pretty significant challenge and a pretty big logistics effort when you think about how do we house, feed, laundry service for 20,000 people. So I think we had about 34 base camps set up. We use sleeper trailers and cot sites to sleep people. So, and hotels where they're available, but we try not to take the hotels because we know customers need them. So that is all I had prepared for y'all today. I think I did pretty good on that. I had no idea how long it's gonna take.
What's the, future, is there any future plan for Plant Branch? Or at least three Plant Branch?
There are no set future plans for Branch, but it is on the table. We do consider the possibility there. I heard somebody say yesterday that it's still one of the sites that's being looked at for potential things in the future. What's going on there today? You know, we're closing the ash ponds on site. There were 5 ash ponds on site. We're building a EPD approved landfill today to put that ash in. So we're dewatering the ponds. The ash is stored in ponds. We're dewatering the ponds. We're going to move the ash to the landfill. But the newest thing last year we announced a party called Eco Materials is on site building what's called a beneficial use facility. They will take that ash and process it so it can be recycled. Concrete companies love it. They can use the ash instead of Portland cement in the concrete. It saves them money. It's supposed to be a greener process for making concrete. And we get money by selling the ash. So it helps our customers. And ultimately we'll be able to build and use less of the landfill. And the landfill will be set up so whatever ash is placed there can be taken out for future recycling. So that's a big deal. Some of y'all have probably seen the gas line being built on 441 from Eatonton south. That's the gas line that's going to Branch. City of Eatonton is going to provide the gas. That's for the beneficial use facility. Not near big enough to run a natural gas plant. So
What is the, what are the silent?
I'm not sure, Bill. They may be part of that beneficial use facility. I hadn't seen those. I hadn't been out there in a couple of months, but I've got a couple of new county commissioners in Putnam County that I'll be taking out there for an update soon. So I'll find out what those are. Don't think I mentioned this up front, but I work in our region external affairs organization. Cover 6 counties besides Baldwin, well, 5 besides Baldwin. Just think about the surrounding counties except for Jones. We're in my area. So pretty involved with Putnam County on Branch over the years. Anything else? I bored Terry and Jennifer. They left.
Would like you to sign this book or you'll start. Yes, sir. All right. Thanks again, Greg, for your program on Georgia Power Integrated Resource Plan today. Thank you, guests, for joining the meeting. And all you who were on Zoom, thank you so much for attending today. Next week, RJ Hooks will speak on behalf of Lake Country's Rural Health Initiative. So please plan to come for that meeting. And don't forget the board meeting next Tuesday at noon at Responsive Technology Partners.
And I hope to say one thing.
Yes.
I know I put the flyers, but it's East Plus, early voting ends Friday, election is Tuesday, some people don't know that the East Plus election is a continuation of the 1-cent sales tax that this community has supported for over 25 years, and it has allowed us to have just incredible facilities. We're very thankful to the citizens. We get audited every year, so we are not wasting taxpayer dollars, and you're more than welcome to look at our audit report. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Price. This meeting's adjourned.
All right. I think I need to close it.